switch.
Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night live stream. We've got two guests with us tonight. We've got ThecrazyScotsman. We've got the New York City Reloader. We're honored to have them with us. We've got the Scotsman with us. And as always, we've got myself, Kyle, and Chico. And Chico, buddy, I missed you last week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me as always. Like I'm gonna get something. But you guys know how stuff happens and stuff happens in our lives. So sometimes we have to take a break and step back. So I know my brother Scotsman always jumps in and take up the slack. And I know Sharenda was on here last week too. So I appreciate it. Everyone, I see 23 of y'all out there. So thanks for joining another Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. I'm glad to be off, and I'm glad Friday is here. I don't really think we have no topics, but y'all know how that goes. We will bring them up, or if you got questions, ask in the side. So I want to welcome ThecrazyScotsman and NYC Reloader on the other side of the Scotsman, and yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us, brother Scotsman. What you been up to, man? Good seeing you.
Oh, good to be here, man. Trust me, I'm glad it's Friday.
Yeah.
It came early for me this morning, so I'm glad it's Friday. Good to be here. This week so far, got some 45 loaded up for testing. I want to do some more testing on my 9mm with the cast loads that I did. So we're going to get those loaded up hopefully this week and get out to the range. So pretty much all I've been doing other than work. Kyle?
I'm sorry, I've got a whining German Shepherd behind me. This has been a week from hell. I got really used to Georgia being shut down and nobody being on the roads. And wow, when they invite the idiots back on the interstates, it's really sad. Hey,
good. I was about to say good morning. Good evening.
Yeah, the first day back from the quarantine or whatever you want to call it, I-75 was shut down because apparently the same two idiots that they always get to run into each other made it back to work, so they decided to run into each other. But this week has been real busy. We've been real busy at work, which is good. Been real busy at home. Angel's just trying to kill me. Got a lot of yard work done, and I'm glad it's Friday and she has to work all weekend.
Damn.
Oh, she killed me last weekend. Sharenda, what you up to, huh?
Not much packing, working, trying to work. That's about it. Nothing new yet.
So it's your move date is very close if you're packing.
Yes, I turned in my paperwork yesterday, so my move date will be officially June 7th, I think. If it's sooner, but out of where I'm currently at, the 7th.
Cool. Too bad I'm not there. I'd help you.
Oh, and I'd sure take it too, because right now it's looking like Tetris in here. I hate moving.
Moving far? Moving close?
No, I'm actually moving 10 minutes away from where I'm at, but it's from an apartment to a house. So I will officially have my hands in.
I hate moving too. I mean, I'll tell you what, 3 moves equals a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I didn't have all this reloading stuff, I might agree with you on that.
You ought to see my garage. Oh my gosh. If there was something that was going to happen to me and my daughter had to come up here and sort through everything, she'd be out there 10 years. I guarantee you. She's like, oh my God, Dad, really? Really? You left me with this? She would. Really?
Oh, the vultures are circling now.
NYC, how you been doing, brother? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing good, man. Just can't wait to this thing to be over. I want to go to the beach. I want to go visit family and friends. I can't go see my mother-in-law for Mother's Day. So, not being able to get out of the house and visit family, missed a bunch of birthdays. Graduations are occurring. We can't go see those, which kind of blows. Stuck at home making ammo when I can, when I'm not working. Got my other 650 for pistol all tuned in and had a problem with the alignment. So Dylan sent me some parts to get the alignment back in line on that used press that I bought not too many months ago. So I've been making 9mm like a fiend and just loving it.
Cool.
Different presses.
Hey, look, I got a question, and I almost know the answer. But is all of your ranges or your local range shut down?
Everything shut down.
Dang, I kind of knew that. I wanted to ask because I know you're kind of behind
enemy lines.
enemy lines. I hate to say it like that, but I was like, I'm just about sure. Some ranges have been opening back up. Obviously, a few of ours has, but I've been hearing people on, in our community. Some folks are able to go to their public ranges. Not all you people with those private ranges in your backyard. Not all you.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the range and shoot some guns, and it's tough when you're making all this ammo and you really got the bug in you to shoot. When you start making ammo, it's like, I can't wait to shoot this, test this load out. I'm doing a bunch of ladder loads and stuff. I'm like, got all this stuff boxed up, ready to go, and I can't go do anything with it. So driving me crazy.
So
Do you guys have an ETA yet?
Pennsylvania is supposedly opened up today. So I'm literally 15 miles from the border, so I may sneak over there and hit a range over there. We'll see. New York, I have no idea. It's all politics. Although people are, surprisingly, in this state that we live in, where they pretty much do whatever the government tells them to do, people are starting to rebel and in mass. So the government really can't do too much to stop them, which is, I kind of like that. I kind of like people saying, hey, the president didn't declare martial law, so the Constitution's still in force. So yeah, we're going to stay at home at certain social distance, but it's no law to say that we have to do it. So yeah, I could use a haircut. I am like 6 weeks past my normal haircut, even though it looks good. It takes a while.
I just cut my own, dude. I just said I ain't going anywhere. Hey, I don't have to be all fancy and stuff. I just went ahead and zip, 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 zip. That's it, man. I'm done. Done.
It looks good, but it takes a lot of work to get there.
Well, it's that Italian in you. You know what I mean?
It's true.
That's it. Italian guys, they pick a nice hair.
Yeah.
I finally got a haircut this weekend. The girl's been cutting my hair for over 20 years. Finally opened back up. I went to high school with her, so her name's Stacy. So I had to go in and sign the waiting list, and then go back to my car and sit for 35 minutes till she got down to me.
Mm.
And man, it's great to have Dave and Kevin on with us tonight. We before we went live tonight, we were talking about Chico got some 48.95, and Dave was talking about 48.95 and 40.64, and I'm like, hold that thought, man. Don't waste it on us. Wait till we go live and share it with everybody out there. But yeah, those are two of my 40.64 was the first powder I ever bought. And the reason I knew nothing at the time, but what I did was went through my loading manual and looked for a powder that could load the most of the cartridges that I would be shooting. Mm-hmm. And 40.64, I found it in load data for a whole lot of stuff. So that's how I came to that deduction.
I think everybody's got a whole bunch of powders that they favor, right? I love Tight Group. I love Varget. I love Unique. I'm really loving Little Gun. And then I've got the high-end powders for the high-end rifles and stuff. But, Unique and Varget, Tight Group, it's amazing what you can do with those powders.
Okay. to me, this is one of my Bibles.
Mhm.
And I'm going to tell you what, everything and anything that you ever even wondered or imagined of, Ken Waters has done it. I mean, it's got everything in it. It's a great book. It's pricey. I mean, Wolf Book Publishing, you're going to spend $50 on it. But what you're getting is all the articles that Ken Waters did for Handloader Magazine in this.
Yep.
And there is like tests and retest and test and test. And there's cast bullet stuff in here. There's all kinds of stuff in there. It's a good read, man. This is good, solid stuff. And, when you're looking for a powder, it's like Jamie said, you go through the manual and you see other loads for other different calibers, and you can pretty much, say, okay, well, this is a standard that a lot of people go to, like Varget or 4895 or IMR 4895 or 4064, 4831. There's another one. There's less popular powders, but they're real good powders that work in certain calibers. Like my 75 by 55, it loves 4320. I mean, 4320, and that cartridge is, it is the stuff. So, that's the real magic, I guess, man, of hand loading. You get to go in and experiment with different loads and different powder charges, and you go out and you go out and shoot it, and you see the results and that sort of thing, and it just really, it's a great thing to do. It's a great craft to pick up. It is. But get yourself some good manuals. That's my suggestion to anybody. The Hornady is a good manual. Sierra is a good manual. Definitely, Ken Waters Pet Loads. It's an excellent book. That right there. But hey, I don't want to. If you got a powder that works for you and it didn't work for me, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to say, well, you shouldn't be using that. You know what I mean? Well, hey, if it works for you, and that's great. I got my favorites too. Like 9mm. I like AA number 7, and I also like HS6. Now you got to use a lot of it. It's not an economy powder, but man, the powder burns you get, and the accuracy you get, and the reaction you get when you shoot that in a 9mm is excellent. Definitely. So those are my favorites as far as 9mm.
Let me say something about that. A lot of times we'll go out to test loads that we've loaded up and stuff like that, and we just have a bad shooting day. So I would never, like last time I went shooting with Kyle. My stigmatism and my dominant eye got really twitchy, and I finally had to give the rifle to Kyle. Here, shoot these, and he shot him. He did great, but man, I was all over the place that day. And so I wouldn't never. When you get good results, it's obvious you done something right. But even with the good results, I think you need to verify it on a different day. Mm-hmm. And John Stewart's got this question for the panel and the chat, and he wants to reload 45 ACP on a single stage. Does the RCBS Cedar crimp die produce good results, or would it be better to use a separate crimp such as Lee crimp die?
Can I take this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, I'm going to tell you, I do my bullet seating and my bullet crimping separately, and the reason why I do that is because when you operate the ram and the ram goes up into the die, okay, the bullet and the casing, okay, are entering that zone, and it's pushing that bullet down into the casing, okay. The problem is that when you get to the crimp stage, okay, if you got it set up to crimp, you're going to crimp at the same time it's pushing down. You got two opposing forces that are happening at the same time. And, case length and all the rest of that stuff starts to mess with it. Okay. And thickness of brass, all this other stuff. So, for me, I seat all my bullets and then I crimp all my bullets. And it's more uniform for me. And it works out better. And, that's my take on it. That's the way I discovered to do it a long time ago that way. And it's just to me, it's easier. It's an extra step, but it's easier. You get better results.
I could add on to that. I would say that the flexibility that you get by being able to seat exactly the way that you want without having to compromise on your crimp or vice versa, right, is what gives you the best all-around way of doing it. Now, I've had presses like a 3-hole press or a 4-hole press where I just don't have enough stations on my press to be able to do everything they want to do. So when you're on a single stage press, if you've got the opportunity to crimp absolutely perfect and have it set absolutely perfect, then do it, and that's that little step that you take that takes it from, shooting 2 inches and takes you down to a dime size type of hole. So whenever you get the opportunity to do something that'll give you a little bit extra accuracy, take the time to do it. It doesn't cost that much to do. I do it as part of my QC too. Once I take out of the press and I take it out, then I go to my crimp. That's when I do the QC. Every time I crimp, I take the measurements, weigh all that stuff, make sure each bullet is perfect. So I think of it as part of my QC, test as well. So yeah, I'm sure other people have comments as well as far as what they do. There's nothing wrong with doing both, but you're never going to get the crimp absolutely perfect. You may not get the bullet absolutely perfect. You'd be fighting yourself one way or the other.
What's your take on that, Chico?
That's what I was gonna say. I totally agree. So when I first started doing 357, I tried to use the dual purpose die, the seating, then crimping in one step. It changes. It'll change if you got a different style bullet, right? It'll change if your brass is off a little bit, one shorter than a little bit or longer. So I find it easier to do the Lee factory crimp die also, and it kind of helps iron out any mistakes, sort of speaking. I say that with a little bit reserve. It don't iron out a mistake, but it does give you it takes out a variable. Let's say that. So I like the Lee factory crimp die. I do it on my 9, my 45, and 357 now. So separate operations. So
yeah.
I was going to say what Dave said, but he said it so much better than I did. I'm not going to.
He definitely did.
I've got samples, y'all. I can show you, particularly on 357 Magnum. You got, like he said, you got 2 opposing forces happening at the same time. You can't be seating a bullet and crimping it all at the same time. And you can use that that one die to do both operations. You don't have to get yourself a Lee factory crimp die, although I really like them. But a lot of guys are going to jump in here and they're going to say, no, I do it in one operation. Hey, if that works for you, more power to you. But I do a separate step. Okay, Scotsman. Favorite powder dispensers of the panel and why?
Wow, that's a deep subject.
It caused a fight.
You might as well be asking him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're talking precision rifles, I like the Hornady auto measure. I actually watched the CD and learned how to adjust it to where it actually works and doesn't overcharge every time. If we're talking pistol rounds, I like, if I'm loading 45, I love the Dillon powder measure. I like the Lee auto drum better. I like it better than the auto disc, even after the updates where they made the swipers and all that stuff. The auto disc was great, but I found the auto drum is a lot better. And if it comes to oddball powders, I like the Lyman Bradsmith powder measure. If I'm just charging a tray of 50 cases and then just going to load them on a single stage press or something like that.
different power measures have different applications, just like all the tools that we have. Kyle gave me a Lee Auto Disc powder measure, and on my progressive press, that sucker is dead nuts on, and it don't leak, and it don't. Now the auto drum. Now that when I used it on my progressive, and it just poured. Powder, pistol powder, but I think we have. I have the Brass Smith also, and I really like it for when I'm using single stage, which is going to lead us into the next question. But for single stage fine powders, you can't beat that Brass Smith because it does not leak. But I have a little bit of difficulty with it with extruded powders, and it's only going to vary like 2 or 3 tenths of a grain, but that's enough that you got to pay attention to it. Anybody else want to jump in on the? Go for it, Dave.
Well, I've used a Uniflow for years. I've had that Uniflow for, I don't even remember where I got it. It's always been on my bench. And I've set up that Uniflow, and it throws perfect charges. A powder measure is something that's an intimate thing. It's not something you can explain. It's not something that you kind of put into words either. How to operate it, you develop it, you get a relationship with it. That's what happens. And different powders, they throw differently, but that's part of the craft. And when you start using a powder measure, no matter what brand it is, I don't care if you've got one of those Lee Perfect powder measures. Actually, you know what? That's actually a pretty good little powder measure for the price. Now, if it was packaged more seriously, came in a serious package, I'd recommend it to people. But it's if it's what you can afford, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's just like anything else. You got to play around with it. You got to use it. You've got to like I said, develop a relationship with it, with the powder that you're using, and everybody's a little different. Some guys tap it twice. Some guys go up and tap it. Some guys go up and tap it and then go down and tap it. And then, you know what? I have a certain amount of force that I put into my throwing of my powder and then throwing it back. And I keep that uniform every time. And you know what? I doubt very seriously I've been off like a tenth of a grain on my powder charges. Mm-hmm. And there was another thing I wanted to go ahead and say. When I shot high power, man, I used to throw under and then trickle up, and with 4895, I used to just sit there and tweak and worry and trip and it's got to be exact and blah blah blah. Ooh, I'm gonna shoot this in a match. And I gotta tell you what, man, I met a lot of guys out there. They just told me, man, what are you doing? You need to just go ahead and put your powder in your powder measure and go with it, okay? And then when you reload, just make sure that you've got, the right amount of powder in your cartridges by visually looking at it as it's, before you put the bullet in there. And you got to make sure that level, of powder is the same on each and every one of them. And I just started using my Dillon press, and I set up an inspection light, and I can see it as it goes by. And as I reach up, go ahead and put the bullet on the case and, pull down on the ram and seat it. I go back and then index to the next one. I worked out sort of a system where I'm taking self checks every time on that 550. And I'll tell you, I found that my scores improved. I'm not kidding you. When you go out there on the firing line and you got a bunch of ammo that took you like 2 nights to put together of 50 rounds because you wanted to make sure they were perfect, I'll tell you what, that's going to be in the back of your mind, dude. And you're not going to want to, you're going to be all tense when you're shooting it. You're not going to want to waste your shots. You're going to make sure that, everything is perfect. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that's no way to shoot, dude. You got to be able to relax. You got to be able to pay attention to one thing, and that's that front sight. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't be thinking about your powder. You can't be thinking about your bullets. You can't be thinking about the dog. You can't close the garage door. Did I turn the coffee pot off? Did I feed the hog? Did I pay those bills? You can't be thinking that way, man. You've got to have one thing on your mind. That's it, period. And tweaking and twisting and tripping and worrying about it and all this other stuff. Now, that's great if that's, part of your craft. And I do that too. If I want to make real precise rounds, say like I'm going to make some 1,200 yard loads with, 155 grain Palma bullets because I'm going to go out and Palma. Well, I'll throw those and trickle them up, and because I want that sort of thing for standard deviation. But shooting out to 300 yards, just drop them. Just drop them. It ain't going to make that big of a difference at 300 yards. You're going to be about a half an inch below, if anything. And especially with like a service rifle, you're using open sights anyway. It's only, it's as good as your hold. So, that's my take on it. Yeah, much.
Kevin?
Well, I have used over the past 35 plus years just about every powder measure and method of, dropping powder and trying to get uniform pulls. And I think the stuff today is really good. There are some real standouts. I really like the Dillon. If I go and use the powder bar on the Dillon and I say I want, 4.5 grains of unique, and I set it up with the knob, I get 4.5 grains of unique. I tried really hard to, I did like 35 pulls in a row, and every single one of them was spot on, which is really good. A lot better than I got with my Lee, and I'm not knocking Lees, and I'm not locking other ones. And I even, for my single stage, I use a Franklin Arsenal powder measure, which I really like. It's got the micrometer in it. But even that one, it could be 1/10 of a grain off, 2/10 of a grain off. So I got it set for doing 4.5. Sometimes it does 4.3. Sometimes it does 4.6 or 7. I usually set it low and then I trickle up. But again, let's say I'm doing 9mm, it all depends on what 9mm I'm shooting. If I'm using 9mm in a rifle, then I'm trying to get it to be a little bit closer because I'm going to go out and reach out a little further, right? As opposed to I'm shooting 9mm and I'm plinking. So I kind of break all my rounds into whether it's a precision load or it's a plinking load. And since I don't have an indoor range, over 100 yards, for me, I can set everything at plinking and save a lot of money. So with a cast bullet and, lower end powder per se, it's not so important. And just like, Thor said a while ago, it's all going to get out to 300 yards. It's not like it's going to make it that much better if you're a grain or two up or a grain or two down. It's distance that we worry about that, right?
Right.
So I think all the equipment's pretty darn good today. If you get a Lyman, RCBS, or Dillon, I think you're going to be in good shape regardless of which one of those you choose. And it takes a little finesse to get to know those. Just like anything else, you have to learn your equipment and know what its capabilities, what its strengths are. And there's nobody going to say, buy all this brand. It's the best. I've got some Lyman this, I've got some RCBS, I've got some Part 80, I've got some Dillon. Now that I'm getting into 6.5, I think every single die is from a different company making 6.5, rounds. So, it's when we're doing reloading, it's to get the best event, and a different caliber may give you different challenges, and you may have to do different things.
Right. I do have a Lee Perfect powder measure, and for extruded powders, that's the best powder measure I've got for doing rifles. So, and it's like Dave said, it can be temperamental, but yeah. And while we're on the subject, and then I'll get back to Kingpin, but I've been stuck up here for a while, so this question's probably already been answered, but I think the Lee auto drum is case activated, so it would be not conducive to using off the press. Given those two, if you're going to be using it on the press, the Lee auto drum. If you're going to be using it off the press, the Brass Smith. Sharinda, while we're on powder measures, you or Chico got an opinion? Go for it, Chico.
Oh, ladies first.
Ladies
Ah,
first.
cheater. Well, I have the Dylan on mine. I can say I like it, but what I don't like about it is I get a lot of when the powder bar slides, there's a lot of trickle that comes off, and I feel like I'm waiting for every like maybe 1,000 or 1,200 rounds I make. I feel like I'm losing a charge. I still prefer the funnel when I'm have time to do precision ones. And then the next one I would have to say is probably at the top of my list is the RCBS.
Which RCBS do you have?
I don't have one. I was borrowing somebody else's, and I have it written down somewhere because I didn't have space at the time, and I was cheating and going to go use other people's equipment. Right now, the only ones I have are, I think I have 4 Dylan powder chargers.
Wah.
And have you used those Dylan powder measures for rifle surrender? I know you have, haven't you?
Yeah, on the 243, it's okay, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I made the rounds that I use for deer hunting, I did it the old-fashioned way. I used the funnel.
Trickle up.
Yep.
So yeah, I got an opinion, but it's not biased, but it's one-sided. This is the only powder measure I have, the Dylan. But I know y'all was like, but you've been loading rifle. This is the other powder measure that I have. That's how I've been doing it because I don't want to say preference. I just haven't decided on a powder measure at this time. And it's because of a lot of different reasons. The extruded powder versus the flake powder and so on and so forth. So all my pistol stuff is done on my Dylan, which is, I like it. You know, like NYC said, if I'm off, it's off 1/10 of a grain, but that is it. And that's very rare if it is. But for my rifle, my 357, I'm using scoopers because I'm still load testing. I do a lot of load testing. Some of it's not on video, but I am in the market sort of, but I just haven't decided on a manufacturer for a separate powder measure. And that's it.
Well, I know that I know for a Dylan to do the 357 38s on the Dylan, you're going to have a caliber conversion thing. But you can use that Dylan powder measure to do that once you get past the for load development. Man, I'm telling you, the scoops, the tray, and the scale, that works fine for load development. But once you get out of the load development phase and you want to load some rounds in a hurry, then you need a good, dependable, and the one for extruded powders for rifle that you can afford easily is that Lee perfect powder measure. And they even have a deluxe model that's made out of metal instead of plastic. And from what I can see, it looks a lot better, a lot nicer. But you're also looking at $25 to $30 as opposed to $55 to $60. And when you get up to $60, you can afford you can buy the Brassmith, the Lyman Brassmith. However, it does not work as well on extruded powders as the Lee. But you take that for what it's worth. Everything in life has swap offs. I mean, I tell my wife all the time, you got to make a choice and go with it. I mean, cloth seats get dirty, leather seats make your butt sweat. Pick one.
Yep.
If that is, just pick one. And for our next question, and I know I'm way behind on the chat, guys, but we got some good topics going here. And Kingpin, your question sort of answers itself. If I can only have one, and I do rifle and pistol, it's got to be a single stage because it's hard to do rifle on a progressive press. So that one kind of eliminates itself. And y'all can chime in about that if you want to. I'm going to try to catch up with the chat. we've got 57, 58 folks out there. Chico, I think it's time for you to do that thing you do, and then we'll get back to the progressive or single stage question.
Sure. Let me scroll back to the top. Oh, it's a lot of y'all out there. That's a lot of scrolling. My very first one is at 8:12, and it's moving. Oh, that's because more people are coming. So, Eagle Eye Shooting, Ozark Spirit, Andy 79, Z28, Text I Can, the Crazy Scotsman is in the background somewhere and in the side chat holding us down. Chris 338, Uncle John, Lakeview Outdoors, Jason Stewart, Mario Molson, Ghost Rider, Pink Shears is on the panel. GGW Reloading, thanks for joining. Fuzz T Fork 8. Squatch Reloading is out there. Eagle Eye Shooting. Echo and the Bunnyman. Got Kingpin. PC Bullet Empire. Let's see. Vanessa Kitty. We've got Ghost Rider. James Pollard, Max Bear. Let's say Lakeview Outdoors. Who else? Who else is out there? We got Rebels out there. Tacos and French Fries. Roosted Films. James Pollard. Hidden Steel CA. Hey, brother. Let's see. It is 58 of y'all. Six Shooter Texan. Tread. Russ. Brumbelow. I always miss that. Reloader 762. Lever Guns 50. Jeff is out there. NYC Reloaders on the panel. Aaron Davis is back for a second time. Larry Palmer is out there. And let me go up here and pull up this other one the way I do it. It's tricky. It's been acting funny, but we're going to try to do it this way and see if I can pull up the participants list and see how that works any day now. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Participants list right there. Oops. Then I can go through it. Aaron Davis, Allen B. Pro, Andy 79, Z28, Broke Loader, Echo and the Bunnyman, Fuzz T Fork 8, GGW Reloading, James Pollard, Jerry 1911, Jeff, Lakeview Outdoors, Larry Palmer, Lever Guns 50, Max Bear, Rebel, Ozark Spirit, PC Bullet Empire, Roosted Film, Six Shooter Texan, Squatch Reloading, Tacos French Fries, Texas I Can, Tread, and Vanessa Kitty. It's weird how what I do to go through and get everyone in the chat. So everyone, if I miss you, don't be mad. Chris 338 also. It's just that's how it works. It's funny like that, YouTube. But thanks everyone for joining. And Jamie, continue on, brother. You're doing well.
I was just going to say that we all missed you last week, and James Pollard, every time I went through the side chat, kept saying, Chico reads better. Chico reads better.
I say double names because it's see, a lot of people don't understand. Whenever you're looking, when I look it up, normally whoever comments more, that's not why I'm saying their name. It's just I'm scrolling and there's dead space or dead sound between. I see Edward Petty's out there too. Thanks for joining us, brother. But it's weird, it didn't used to be like that. You could just do the pop out list, participants list, and it would show everyone. But you guys know how YouTube is. So, but I'm sure you held it down fine, brother. I watched a little bit of it this week when I could. American Reloader just showed up, I think. Thanks for joining us.
Allen B. Pros testing out some 10 millimeter, American Reloader, hello, bud. Squatch shoots a lot of 10 millimeter. Alan, he has a good load series on that. So, so we were talking about single stage or progressive. But
the question was, he was talking about if you could only pick one. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and Kingpin. Yeah, Kingpin was asking that. And the thing about he didn't ask anything about the turret presses, but I got to tell y'all, I started with the Lee Classic Cast 4-hole turret press, and you can turn that into a semi-progressive. And I would recommend that press for anybody just starting out because you can use it as a single stage. And well, Aaron Davis, thank you for joining, and you're part of the reason we do what we do, buddy. Welcome so much. Thanks for coming in. So if you're just starting out like Aaron Davis, or like I was about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, that's a good press to start with because you can use it as a single stage and do rifle. You can also do the semi-progressive, or you can rotate it yourself and do pistol rounds, or either one. So yes.
Can I just jump in? This is controversial. Okay, so what you got here is you've got mass-produced rifles. Okay, it just made thousands of them. Just thousands of guys banging them together, and they're checking them with gauges and doing this and doing that, and then they're throwing them in the box, and they end up at our retail stores. Okay, so some people, some people are under the idea that reloading on a single stage is more precise than on a progressive. And go back to what I just got through saying. We're reloading from mass-produced rifles that, the chamber reamers, they get swapped out. There's tolerance levels, that they are allowing on the manufacturer's side. I mean, there's things there that are beyond our control. And when you're trying so hard to make super precise rounds for a rifle that, is a mass-produced rifle with a mass-produced chamber, I mean, you might be overworking yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? I've reloaded on my Dillon, for rifle, and I found that there isn't any difference. No appreciable difference whatsoever between the two. I've reloaded on my rock chucker and on my Dillon. So I don't really have an opinion. I mean, it depends on what you really want to do. You can reload on a single stage the same as you can reload on a progressive. I mean, you can do a round at a time on a progressive. So, it all depends on how. It's like a chainsaw. If you buy a little chainsaw, you can cut wood and it'll cut wood and everything. But it comes down to the question: how much wood do you want to cut? Just like a race car, how fast do you want to go? It's all available. You just have to pay for it. So saying one's better than the other and you're getting the same results, it all really depends on what you're really projecting on what it is you want to do with it, And when you get into the craft, you start getting an idea. And a lot of people do start off on a single stage. But thinking that a single stage is more precise than doing it on a progressive press is, in my opinion, kind of silly. That's thinking to me. I mean, like I said, you've got tolerance levels within the manufacturers of the firearms. You got tolerance levels in the manufacturer of your brass. You have tolerance levels in the manufacturer of your, jacketed bullets, or even the commercial cast ones that you buy. So, guys are splitting half a thousandths out there thinking this is going to do it. hey, if you think that that's what's going to make it, then yeah, it probably will make a difference. But when you let that sort of thinking in your head, you're going to drive yourself nuts. You know, so you got to kind of know what it is you want to do and how fast you want to go and how much you're willing to pay. You know, and there's kits available that are single stage. There's kits available that are turret presses. There's kits available that are progressive presses, and it's just something that as you get around people and get into the hobby and stuff, you probably start to figure out what it is you want to do. And one thing that I really don't like to see is a YouTube channel, and the only press the guy's got, okay, is a progressive press, and that's all he knows, and that's all he talks about. And it's boring to me when you just have that one press and your whole world is just circling around it. Now, Chico, for instance, has a Dillon press. He swears by it. Chico, do you have a single stage?
2 of them.
You got 2 of them. Okay, so yeah. It really, once you start expanding in the hobby, you're probably going to end up owning both. But if I had a choice, I would just go with a progressive. Me, not thinking of the money. There you go.
But I also have a Challenger press right here. I was gonna turn around. It's so junky in here, but I load most of my I load my 357 38s and my 308 on this Challenger press here.
Yeah, and that little C press that Lee makes, I had one of those. It works great.
It does. Yeah.
It does. It works great. I've actually put it in a concentric, gauge, and yeah, they're there. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to spend a lot of money either.
That's true. And when I first got my progressive press, I operated it like a single stage. So and they also sell they sell a kit or something, an adapter that you can only do 1 round at a time. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a tool head. That's what it is. It's a tool head and a shell plate. I'm sure NYC.
Yep.
Yeah. But I could use either. But a lot of people was telling me they were suggesting I go to a single stage, but I knew I'm a tinkerer by trade. You know what I mean? Use my hands. I knew what I had planned, and my first plan was volume, but doing it safely. So I did everything single stage operation when I first got my Dillon though. But I load everything, the rest my 38, 357, and 308 on this Challenger press, and I enjoy it just as much as this right here.
If I could comment on that topic, I would say that because I've been reloading for so long and I started with single stage, I love single stage. All my precision rounds that I make on my single stage. It's just too much to be dialing, changing things, adjusting the dies. My 2 Dillons. I have 2 Dillons. I have an RCBS and I've got a Lee and I've got an old Lyman press in the box as well. So I have a bunch of different presses, but I say my Dillon serves 2 purposes. One is to make lots of rifle ammo, and the other one make lots of pistol ammo. If I'm making quantities to go out there and throw lots of lead down range or full metal jackets down range, the machine makes great ammo every single time. It's locked solid. It's dialed in. But I tell people, before you go buy a single stage, you're going to need before you buy a progressive press, buy a single stage, learn how to reload on the single stage, and you'll be that much better to tune your Dillon to give you perfect ammo. Once you understand the principles of single stage, you'll be able to adapt that and bring that over to that press and make good ammo. Now, with progressive press, if you don't do that, you can make a lot of bad ammo really quick. And I've seen guys do it. And I teach reloading. I'm working with a place here, a reloading store, a gun store that happens to sell Dillon and all the different presses. And I try to get people started on a little Lee press or a little RCBS press. I don't care which one, little single stage. And I said, before you go out and buy a Dillon, because if you have a Dillon, you're going to want to have a single stage press anyway. It's great for decapping. It's great for bullet sizing. It's great for, swaging, if you can swage on those presses. So there's a lot of things that it brings to the table in the case prep. I case prep most of my rounds on my press with the trimmer and all that stuff on my Dillon with the swager, and I do all that progressively. So that saves me a ton of time. Having to swage it on the Dillon press, huge, and the trimmer, huge. And again, single stage, I make 6.5 Creedmoor on my little Lee press, my little classic Lee press, and I do 3-3 Lapou on that. I also do it on a Summit press. So if I'm doing precision rounds, I'm not shooting 500 6.5 Creedmoors down the range. I can guarantee you that. I'm not shooting 600 3-3 Lapou rounds down range. So I don't need to make them on the Dillon. Even if I could, probably could, I wouldn't do it because there's no need. I'm not going to shoot that quantity. But I shoot a hell of a lot of 223, and I shoot a hell of a lot of 9mm and a lot of 45. So those, I want to be able to make those quick. And I'm not shooting those things out to 500 yards or 1,000 yards. So I can make them on the Dillon. It makes them very accurately. And in the grand scheme of things, I have both. I want to have both. I would have, if I had to downsize to 2 presses, it would be a Dillon for progressive, and it would be a single stage. And I probably would get I'd probably get a turret press. I'd probably get a Redding or like there's a T8 now instead of the T7. That's the newest one, right? T8. Man, that's I got a lot of envy on that press. That's pretty cool. I'd probably go with that, But again, it all depends on the size. I like that little. I don't know if you've ever seen the video on little RCBS Summit press. I love that press, but it just doesn't decap and it doesn't prime. I mean, it decaps, it just won't prime on press. And you can do it by hand and all that stuff too. But it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish and where you're going to save time. But precision loads, it's all about loving what you're doing, right? When I go out and make my 6.5, when I go out and make my 3-3 Lapua, I want to make those as good as I can. And so I go ahead and use my powder measure, and then I trickle up to get the right thing every time, because that's the stuff that I'm going to spend time on. I'm only going to go to the range and shoot maybe 50 of them, maybe 100. And if I'm really on a good day in a good mood and I know I'm shooting right, I'll shoot 100. But I'm never going to go throw 500 rounds of those calibers down the lane like I would with a 223 or 9mm. I don't even think about shooting those. I just shoot as much as I want to. And that's why I have a progressive press, so I can shoot as much as I want to, but not to shoot as much as I want to a 6.5 Creedmoor because it's too expensive. Way too.
Again, the proper tool for the job
is
what you're saying,
yeah.
and I understand. Scotsman's got a question for us. Lyman, All-American 8 or the Redding T7 turret?
Yeah. One more. 8 is one more, so it's better, right? It's one more, so it's clearly better.
I don't have a dog in that race, so
I don't either.
But if there was a T9, I think the T9 would be better than the T8.
The T10.
The T10 would be 11. Why not go right to 11?
We all know where this is going. You got to get a T10.
do it like Marshall Amps. Go to 11.
Then the T20.
Be done with it.
See, to truly be able to answer that question, you would need to own them both and use them both. Take ammo produced from each one to the range and shoot and test them. I don't know anybody that's got both of those, but I think what Scotsman's doing is giving us some topics to talk about, and that's a good one. Larry Palmer says the T7. It's going to go. It's going to go with what they have. I know the Emperor has the All-American 8. I think who else has an 8? Jerry 1911 has an 8. Has the
I think Andy bought one. Andy 79Z28 bought one. They bought them when they were on sale, and I should have bought me one back then. They were cheap.
Yeah, $135.
That was stealing. I was telling myself buy one and
go with a T20.
Hey, Sharinda, what would you say on all that?
Personally, I like to have both. When I first learned, it was on a single stage. When I made the decision to get mine, I went ahead and went with progressive because I was plinking. So to me, it made more sense to start that way. And I went with the 550 so I could still sort of be hands-on not as much as with the single stage. And I'm still gonna go and get a lead challenger, because what I'm finding is when I'm doing demos or I have the ladies over so we can reload, because instead of tea parties, we have reloading parties. When they make the decision that they want to go and purchase one, they always feel like, well, I'm going to get the same one you got. And I'm like, you don't have to. That was just a preference for me. We could do the same thing on a lead. So now I feel like I'm doing them a disservice, and I need to go get a lead challenger so they can see that they don't have to spend 500 plus bucks.
Yeah.
$150 kit will accomplish the same thing. And for me, since you guys have been loading a lot longer than I haven't had that much exposure to a lot of equipment. Nobody in my area really reloads. So it was a struggle for me to even get to this point. So for me, I want to touch everything. So I want all the stuff. And then what I have, when I'm demoing, I'm letting other people use it, or, I can get to a point and say, well, before you buy it, just try mine. See what you like. Make your own decision.
Yep.
But I'm greedy. I want both, because it also depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I don't have to crank out 1,000 rounds to go plink. I may just want to go through the notions, and I want to do it on a single stage so I can get the feel for it, or remember the feel for it.
I really enjoy loading 44 Magnum. I use a 4-hole turret press, but I use it in single stage fashion. I'll size and prime all the cases. I'll use a powder measure and charge all the cases. I'll sit back and I'll seat all the bullets, and then I'll crimp all the bullets. That's a very satisfactory way for me to spend an evening after work, or a morning when I get up. If I don't feel like casting, I'll do some of that. But which right now I need to cast some bullets instead of loading them, because I'm not out of loading them. So I need to cast some more. But when it comes to, like, I use the Lee 6 cavity molds for 9mm, 40, 45, and all that. I'll use the 550. I pretty much use my 550 for only large primers, just so I don't have to swap everything out, even though it only takes a couple of minutes to swap it to a small primer. But I load all my 308s, 270s, 30-06s, 45s. I load all that on the Dillon. Everything's preset. Just roll with it. I use Lee Loadmasters for 9mm and 40 cal and 300 blackout and 223. I have 2 different Loadmasters. All I have to do is change the tool head. The base plate's the same. I've got the Lee 4-hole turret press. I've got a Lee Challenger single stage to play around with things. You always need I don't care if if you start out with a Dillon 1050 fully automated, you're going to want a single stage press.
Very true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my advice there. So start out with a single stage press, whether it be a rock chucker, a lead challenger, I mean, whatever, and go where you want from there. I've got multiple presses, and I use them all for they've got exact purposes at this point. I've got them all fine tuned. I don't have to mess around and adjust this, that, and the other. I change the tool head, run one round through there. Yep, here we go, and just start doing my thing. So whatever you're gonna do.
Especially if you go
I guess
product cards.
one of the things that need to be brought up here is that a lot of us reload for different reasons. And I think one of the most honest answers I've heard so far came from Sharenda. Is that, sometimes you just have to have that perspective of a new person to get in there. Because, you get people like me that's been running 30 years or more. And I'm pretty much dead set in my mind what I think, But getting into where like Jamie said that he was been in it for 5 years. You get a lot of different experiences and what people's needs are and that sort of thing. I'm sorry, Kevin. You were going to say something. I ran you over.
No. I was pretty much going to say the same thing you and Sharenda have been saying, but I guess you get to certain points when you're with a Lee. It's a utility press. You can load so much on that little Lee press. It's very flexible. It's inexpensive. Anybody that I'm teaching reloading to, I start them on a little Lee press. And I say, look, get this press. It's cheap. You can get into it very inexpensively. You can get some rounds made. That person that's been shooting in their AR, their 9mm, they're just blasting ammo down the line. But when they start making it on a single loader press, they have a lot more respect for the ammo, and they take their time to be a better shooter because they realize how much it cost them to make that ammo. They realize how much time they put into it, and they realize that it's not just a box of factory ammo. Factory ammo is crap. Compared to what we're doing reloading and reloading to the specs the way we do, our stuff is just so much better than mass-produced junk that and I don't mean to knock these companies. I'm sure they're doing the best they can with the quantities that they have to crank out, but there's a lot of bad ammo out there from some really big companies. And you reload on a single-stage press, even if it's a little tiny Lee, it doesn't have the best concentricity in the world, but it makes decent ammo. When I started doing precision on my 338 Lapua, I had some groups that were decent size on 338 and 308, but they weren't where I wanted them to be. If I wanted to tighten them up, I needed something with a little bit of concentricity, and that's why I picked up the little Summit press, because the concentricity on that is just absolutely fantastic. And it does make a difference. If I wanted to get the dime size, put 5 holes in the dime size target, that was how I got there. Before that, it was about the size of a $50, which is still damn good, depending on what your application. Are you making holes in paper, or are you trying to shoot a deer in the heart? You're going to be able to do with dollar size grouping or what? It all depends on your application. So, you just have to get the right press for the job, and sometimes you may have to get a little bit different press to give you a little better results. And there's some really good presses out there, and there's some real simple presses out there that are cheap. But at the end of the day, I use that Summit all the time for decapping, and I use that Lee all the time for bullet sizing. I use it. I would never be able to get along with just with a progressive press. I couldn't do it. And I don't have the flexibility. If I'm changing the load on a powder, if I'm switching powders, and I'm going from, I'll give you an example. If I'm doing 223, I make 223 on the Dillon, and I make that at around 25.5 grains of CFE 223. And I also make some budget 223 using tight group with 4 grains, 3 to 4 grains of tight group, and with a cast bullet. And I'm running them a little bit slower.
That's subsonic.
Yeah, it's subsonic. So I'm making those rounds, but those rounds typically, I can make them on the Dillon too. But that's the whole thing. I do different rounds for different purposes. I don't need a bullet to go to 1,000 yards if I only have a gun range that's 100 yards. And I can save a lot of money by using a different powder. When you think about it, you do use a pound of Dillon powder with 25 a charge for each 223, and then you go to tight group and use 4, grains of powder.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. 3.5. Exactly. So you use 3.5 grains of powder on tight group, right? For 223. It's a lot cheaper. You're getting a whole lot. So if you're trying to save money,
you'd be amazed how quiet an AR is.
Yeah.
3.5 grains of tight group.
Yep.
So does that make the rifle operate?
Oh, hell no.
What do you mean? It makes it right. It makes it operate.
Does it cycle?
Yeah.
3.5 doesn't on mine.
Well,
I've tried it through about 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's still a single shot semi-automatic.
4 grains does it.
Yeah, but is it still subsonic at 4 grains?
I don't need it to be subsonic. I
was just wondering, because it's pretty nice to put a can on there and go in the backyard and go. Doop, 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 doop.
Remember where you are, and remember where I am. I can't have a can on any line.
Oh.
All right, I'm following the comment again. We got another question from the Scotsman. Winchester primer, CCI, or Federal, and why? Basically, I'll use what I can get.
Mm-hmm.
I have some Winchester. I have CCIs. My preference is Winchester, and that's going to make a lot of people mad at me, and I don't mean to. But here's a good comment from Jerry too about how he has his Lyman 8 set up. CCI's the only failures to fire I've ever had in any of my reloads has been with CCI primers. Remington, I had a bad experience. I will never buy anything that says Remington on it ever again. As far as reloading components, except maybe bullets. I'd buy bullets. How can a bullet not work, right? It's either accurate or it's not. So, but yeah, Jerry's got it figured out. Keep that universal decapping pin on there, that decapping die. And that's the way to go, guys, especially if you're using a single stage press to decap. Put that thing in there. And another thing I like to use too is the Lee Universal expanding die. Those tow ammos right there, I was able to pick up me and Chico some of those from a local gun store here when it was getting really bad. So, what you got? 1, 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I swear by it.
The expanding die or the
expanding die?
Oh, Kingpin, don't leave us, bud. Good night, Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Night, brother.
Night, Kingpin.
Thanks for showing up.
I'm kind of with Jamie. I use Winchester. I've never had any problems with Winchester primers. I have had problems with CCI primers, but and that was just a brass thing because of the different brass I was using and getting them to see. You know, they're a hard primer.
Mm-hmm.
They're very thick in their cup design. Federal are the most sensitive, but they're also the thinnest.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've stayed away from Federal primers. I've stayed away from them. You got to watch your seating. You got to watch how much torque you're actually putting on your primer seater when you're seating them, so you don't flatten them out or crush them. You know. But I haven't had any problem with Winchesters. Winchesters just like went right in there. I wanted to say another thing too about, you know, mass-produced ammunition, you know, in ammunition plants. Okay, ammunition plants have invested their money into reloading companies, and you know, it's not an us against them sort of thing. They actually want us to reload because, well, they invest their money into reloading companies, and so, you know, there is a lot of ammunition out there that's so, and there's some of it that's really good. You know, that's produced by the ammo companies. But, you know, to get back to what Kevin was saying, is at least with hand loading, we can control what it is that we want to load. You know, like he has a special pet load that he likes with his tight group with his 223, and works really good for him. And then he likes CFE powder. It seems to work really good in his AR. You know, I use Vitavari N133, N135, N140 in my 223. So it all boils down to whatever you're going to prefer and whatever's going to meet your needs. And, you know, as far as what brand of primer you really want, it all boils down to your individual taste too. You know, and what's available. You know, I buy my stuff on sale. I don't buy anything. You know, I don't go and get 1,000 primers at the gun store. I wait until they come on sale at someplace, you know, and then mail order them, and I get 5,000 primers at a time.
Now, I'm with though it's what's available.
Yeah, sometimes I buy up to 15,000 primers at a time.
Yep.
So there you go.
I've been on CCI because when I first started using the Dillon, I was having some problems with the Winchesters, crushing them, and I didn't have that problem with CCI because they seem to be a little bit better material. They're a little bit harder, and I like the feel, so I got the feel down. When I have done Winchester on there, the feel's a little bit different. On the Dillon, if you push forward on a 650, there's a certain amount of pressure you put, and when you go in fast and progressive mode, I have that feel down. Now, if I started with Winchesters all the time, then I would have probably had that feel for that. So, pushing it into in primer pocket, you get that feel memory, that push memory, so you can feel that it's loaded properly. I know it's a little bit probably not noticeable for most people, but it's for me.
Scotsman's killing us, man. He's killing us.
He's happy, isn't he?
Oh, he's got his sword out, man. We's taking no prisoners on this.
I know. I deprime before cleaning, rifle or pistol, either one, and that's why I have and recommend the Lee Universal Depriming Die, because that way you don't get no gunk in your sizing die from depriming before you wash them. So, or do the dry tumbler or whatever, however you clean your brass.
Basically, what it boils down to: how do you clean your brass? And how clean do you want your brass?
Yep.
And
I ain't gonna lie. If I'm plinking, I don't decap them before I clean them.
Okay.
I'm going hunting. Everything's clean. It's shiny. I want to see the glitter as it's going towards my harvest.
I decap my rifle brass before I clean it. Pistol brass, not so much.
I just like everything to be super clean, and I started out back in the day with a vibratory tumbler, and it was just messy, a lot of dust. I don't want to breathe that stuff in. So the big question is wet or dry.
Wet is the way to go, baby.
Yeah, way to go.
Well, my process, I have an old case feeder, an old Dillon case feeder that a guy gave me. And what I do is I throw all my brass in that, and then I set up my 550 to go ahead and deprime. And I just start depriming and resizing at the same time. And I run them through my 550. I can get pretty fast at it. And when the bucket's full and, they're ready to go, they're already sized. All I have to do is dump them in the tumbler, throw the soap in there, and start the tumbler, a Fumbler's tumbler, and let them run. And then go through my process of cleaning, and then I'm done. Figuring out a process is probably a better answer to the question at hand. And like I said, how clean do you really want them? I mean, I don't think it really makes that big of a difference if, you've got a little bit of crud in your primer, pocket. But I've developed a process where I can eliminate, any of that, and my brass is like new. So I just go with that. And there's nothing wrong with, not cleaning your primer pockets. I don't think it's going to hurt your performance of your ammo at all. It's just kind of one of those extra steps that you do just because.
To answer the Crazy Scotsman, I prefer to cast my own because it's a whole heck of a lot cheaper, and I find that an even more relaxing process, because when you're casting hollow points, as much as you want to mass produce, you're going to have to slow down. You're going to have to take your time. You can sit back and you can listen to the music instead of just having it as background noise, and you just kick back and chill on a Sunday morning sunrise, and you can cast up your own hollow points out of an alloy that you find that works. And this may be out of the realm of some people that are on here tonight on the side chat, but Dave knows exactly what I'm talking about. You just slow down. You're more in touch with the birds that are nesting in your corner of your porch, the squirrels that are playing on the fence. You decide that you're more in tune with a lot of that stuff, and it's nice and relaxing.
It's a Zen thing, right? I mean,
It is.
me going to the progressive loader is one thing. I'm cranking on ammo. I'm like, yeah, 1,000 rounds. Yeah, it's great. Then the other times I'm sitting down and I'm, doing some case prep or sizing some bullets or casting some bullets. I enjoy doing all those things. I enjoy taking my time. I enjoy doing quality control and that stuff. I'm here to have fun, right? If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. So I like to slow down sometimes and do those things. And my brass prep, that's another day. I was like, yeah, today's brass prep. I got 10,000 223s. I need to prep, and I love doing them. I love throwing them in the tumbler. I love throwing them in the dryer. I love trimming them on, progressively and stuff. So I kind of do the best of both worlds. But I'm enjoying myself when I'm doing it. I don't have
10,000 rounds of 223 on brass prep day. God, that's a hard hand day.
No, I knock them out on this. I knock them out because I've got a separate head just for case prep on 223.
Yeah,
where I decap, resize, trim, everything all on one. So I crank through that stuff about 1,000 rounds an hour, no problem.
You got the Dillon vacuum thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I never thought I needed it until I went to a buddy of mine's house who had it. Damn it, I'm so wrong. Because when I go out there,
that has that.
Well, the thing is, I measure each piece of brass, and then I'm making sure they're the right size and everything else. And then I anneal and all that stuff. So once I've done all that and I put it in baggies and I put a little moisture muncher in there just to keep the moisture down, and I have my, my supplies. So if I need to go ahead and start making a bunch of ammo, I've got my cases all perfect, all the right length, all the right size. If it doesn't need to be trimmed, it doesn't get trimmed. So it's a nice feeling to have all those supplies ready. And that's why when I go buy primers, I'll buy 10,000 primers at a time. I think I've got 20,000 small pistol primers. I got probably 10,000 large rifle primers,
I'm just thanking the good Lord that I don't know anybody with one of those for me to play with.
What's that?
The Dillon case trimming vacuum setup, because I'm pretty sure I'd have one.
Yeah, if you come over here, I'll let you play with mine. You'll say, man, this is great.
I'm not coming up there. Y'all got the Rona.
I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about the hollow point thing. While Chico's gone, I don't buy hollow points. I just bum some off of him. So
I just want to go on record to say, before I started this journey, I used to think reloaders get on my nerves. Now I'm at the point now where you casters get on my nerves because I'm jealous.
Well, the hollow point thing is not only do you got to have a mold to do it, and they're more expensive. You got to have just the right alloy, because if you get them too hard, they're going to break coming out of there. They're going to bust all pieces and all that kind of stuff. And Dave will tell you, Kyle will tell you, Chico will tell you. I haven't gotten into that yet, but I intend to. But now the Scotsman's got us another question. Basic Lee molds or steel molds, and why? The answer to that question is yes. Again, it's a tool to do a job. The basic Lee molds, the little 2-cavity molds, they're great for what they are. They're cheap. You can start casting for not a whole lot of money. They make very good, accurate bullets if you've got a good, alloy and stir it up regular. Yeah, Kyle's got one. So
this was just sitting on top of the pot. I don't even know what it is. I think it's it's a 44 Magnum, but it's the 2-cavity version. I've got 6-cavity versions. I've got 4-cavity versions.
I'm slowly getting there.
In caliber.
Trenda.
I'm slowly. Oops.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Slowly getting there.
You're starting to see it. Yeah. There you go.
If you're looking to reload to save money, you're going to save money. You're going to shoot more and you're going to save money. But if you're really looking to save money, you cast. I got to tell you, if you want to make a 3 or 4 cent 9mm, you got to cast. Because your money's in your bullet.
I'm getting there.
You're gonna have 3 cents in the primer. You're gonna have a couple of pennies in the powder, and judging on how you can acquire your lead, the only money that I have in most of the bullets that I cast is the electricity that it takes to run the pot. Other than that, the bullets are free.
I'm going to interject something here. And if you have a 1911, okay,
Yeah.
if you have $20, go out and buy that 200 grain semi-wad cutter Lee H&G 68. If your gun doesn't shoot that good, there's something wrong with your gun.
What was that again?
Really, because that is a very, very accurate bullet, and you can produce it very cheaply, even with a 2-cavity mold. I have the 6-cavity mold.
I actually like the 230 grain round nose. My 1911s eat that thing like it's butter.
But
So,
you don't have too much
25 grain diamond, and that seemed to shoot really good. But I ended up having to get a different seating stem for it in order to seat it straight into the case. I had a little bit of problems with that 225 grain because of the profile, getting it to seat straight, down into the case. So that's been my experience with it. But like I was saying, what Kyle and Kevin was talking about, see, reloading is like going to IKEA. Okay, you see what you want.
I love that, Dave. I love that.
You put it together, and see the ammo. Like I said, the ammo manufacturers, they don't care. They don't care. They invest their money into bullet companies and reloading companies and stuff because they know that we're the IKEA people. We that's where we do our shopping for our ammo, and so there you go. What you're really saving over if you're hand loading, what you're really saving is the labor cost for what a manufacturer charges. You're saving that labor because you're doing your labor yourself. And when you really save money, bottom dollar, you can't get any cheaper ammo, is when you start casting. When you start casting, dirt cheap. You can't get any cheaper than that other than free. You can't get any cheaper than that. And another thing with casting, you get into a place where you start to prefer your cast bullets over the ones that you buy in the store because they shoot better, they're more accurate, and you've tailored the loads.
That is a very good feeling, sir. You are correct.
And you're doing it dirt cheap, man. You are doing it dirt cheap. And with powder coating, now I have traditional lubricizers, but powder coating, anybody who's wants to go ahead and start casting, just start off with some Lee molds. You might want to do your homework a little bit too. Read a few books about bullet casting, and not only that, but read a few articles about some people that have casted bullets and what designs worked for them. Because there's a lot of designs out there. No matter what you do, they're just not going to shoot. There's a lot of bum designs out there. But if you see and read about what results somebody got with a certain style of bullet or manufacturer of mold in that bullet that you want to go ahead and cast for, there's no reason not to start casting. And the aluminum ones will work just as good. They heat up real fast. You can overheat them. You can actually warp the spew plate on them. It's all part of the learning curve, though, of starting to cast. So anybody who's starting to learn to cast, I'd suggest just go ahead and get some Lee molds, because if you're going to make mistakes, you're going to make them on those molds, and they're not expensive.
Yeah,
like
that.
And it's like you haven't went out there and went and bought brass molds or a real nice steel mold or something like that and spent a bunch of money on it. get an idea of what you want. And
Well,
then go
I
with
tell you this: I have cast and loaded thousands of multiple different caliber projectiles out of a either $20 or $40 Lee mold.
Yeah.
And they're still in wonderful shape, and I can load or cast thousands more. And I've actually had people challenge me to shoot offs, and I'll be like, "That's fine as long as I can use my ammo."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, we're going to use this Winchester white box. I'm like, no, we're not.
No, not that.
Kyle, do you got an EPP? Do you have an EPP lead press now?
No, I do not. I've been fighting the urge to get one, but no, I do not have an APP.
Have you seen what's happening to the guys that do have one? They're getting milk jugs of bullets sitting on their benches now.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. As soon as you start, just doing the one size through one pull, you're done.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a problem sizing my cast bullets and all that.
Man, these bullets now, I got to shoot up.
Yeah, but now everybody's in a hurry to go shoot up everything they've casted, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. I think sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
GGW Reloading's got a question for us. 185 grain, 351 gas check bullet. I think Michael Sines would be the guy to ask that. He's got that. What is it? A 351 Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what that would be for.
Yeah, I think his question's already been answered.
Well, I had it up here 5 or 6 minutes, so
Yeah,
I've been trying to ask, but I ain't going to interrupt good conversation. So
we were just shooting the breeze, man. You're in charge. Always feel free to interrupt.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I just I think wouldn't that be for that 351? I'm not seeing a.
Put up Fuzz's comment. Damn it.
Yeah, he is. I'm glad. Yeah, James is on top of it. Buzz got a comment out there.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. And most of us here no, not that one. Keep on going down. He just posted it when I said something about it. So it's towards the bottom of the comments.
Well, Fuzz, if that happens to mine, I will spray paint it glitter for you and mount it and take a picture.
Put a unicorn horn on it.
I got one too.
Just make sure when you take it out, you record.
I'll do that.
But this photograph was an abacus.
You know what I seen? You know what I seen that I thought was awesome? That I thought was just totally awesome. Not to promote somebody else's channel, but Paul Harrell just came out with his videos, and one of his staff made a Paul Harrell action figure, like a little G.I. Joe. I thought that was awesome. I was like, man, that's a Paul Harrell action figure, man. That's badass.
I got to have one of those. I hadn't had a chance to watch it, but
everybody does. Everybody wants one now. Everybody's like, hey, I got to give you one of those, man. It's got to come with a bunch of vehicles too, older cars. The Paul Harrell action figure. Buy the whole set.
got to come with a 1985 Chevy Caprice.
There you
go. There's something wrong with us because we're the only people that know what the hell we're talking about.
Little string in the back, and you pull it. It says, "Because I'm Paul Harrell, and you're not." That's why. I love Paul Harrell, man. He's awesome. That dude,
funny, Dave. That's
Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
of the reloading of the shooting community. I think he's great. I like him. I watch it. I watch every single episode he does. It's great.
Hey, Michael. If it ain't on video, it didn't really happen, bro.
Some of us can't use a video camera at our gun range. Unfortunately, here in New York, they don't allow it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's because that's a communist state.
Yep. They think that you're going to capture a video of somebody shooting the wrong way or shooting the wrong stuff or doing something that would violate their insurance, and you have it on tape, and that's what they're worried about. So that's why it's difficult. You can do it on outdoor ranges. Not
New
all.
York must have quite a high population of lawyers. I'm just
Yeah, it's the highest concentration in the country. New Jersey.
basing that off of statements that you have just made.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. One of the things I wanted to talk about too, when we're talking about hand loading versus buying factory ammo, I don't know if many of you guys caught my video series on Federal and me talking with the guys at Federal. And quite honestly, I was so disappointed with the Federal ammo. And the main thing you got to understand about Federal is they're cranking out ammo for the military, and all their tactical ammo and their bulk boxes of 1,000. That's all rejects.
Right.
All that stuff is rejects that didn't mask quality control. So when you're buying the American Eagle 223, it's not the same in 308. The 308 is awesome. But when you're getting their 223 and their tactical and their 5.56, all that stuff is ammo that failed to meet qualify for a military purchase. So they throw in a big bulk box and they sell it out there like that. So that's why that stuff can be at 200 yards. That stuff is like 5-6 inches to the left, north, south, east. And a good ammo from a manufacturer that's not match grade ammo, that's just standard ammo, PMC makes some pretty good stuff.
They do.
PMC makes some good rifle ammo.
Spring of Remington, I believe.
Yep.
They do make very good ammo, but I really got to noticing all the store-bought 5.56 or 223 that I would buy. It's not worth a crap. And I started loading my own, and I've even got a blooper reel on one of my videos. I just left up for the hell of it. In the middle of a rainstorm, I'm shooting at 100 yards with 52 grain hollow points I loaded up, and they're all touching the same hole, and the target keeps falling down and moving.
Yep.
And all that. And I was like, this is just insane. But the rounds were good. They went
It's hard to go wrong with the 52s, by the way.
Do what, sir?
The 52. With a 52 grain hollow point.
Well, these were pulled bullets from American Reloading. They'd already been loaded once, probably in military rounds or whatever.
Broke down, yeah.
And they broke them down, and they were just in a batch that I bought. And I found the magic load. I didn't have to work anything up. They were touching the same hole. And I was like, wow, this is a good load. How many more of these do I have?
I've got competition with pull down components.
Yep.
Pulled down 150 grain M2. I shot M118, 173 grain M118 for my long range. Well, my mid range, which is 600 yards. But I was doing that because I could afford it, Back in those days, you could buy 500 M118 rounds for like $35.
Yep.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is that I was down in Longview. We were doing a shoot down there, and they had a representative from Nosler, and he just basically walked up and down the line, and he was picking out guys, and he picked me out, and he says, "How'd you like a sponsorship?" I was like, "Well, what do I have to do?" He says, "You have to send our scores. That's it. Send in your scores. That's all you have to do, and we'll send you 168 grain hollow points, the J4 competition bullet." And I was like, "Yeah, hey, cool." So I had to pay shipping, which was about $30, but per 1,000. So it wasn't bad. But those J4 competition bullets, my M1A didn't like them. I always shot better with Hornadies. Oh yeah, Hornadies. I smoked Sierras with those Hornady bullets. Hornady is a good bullet. I'll tell you that right now. They are the nuts and bolts of the bullet.
Yeah, they make good bullets, but they know it.
Bullets.
They
Yeah.
do.
Well, Sierra.
They ain't cheap.
They're real proud of their bullets, man. They might as well be made out of gold.
Yep.
I can't afford that. It's too rich for me.
What are we talking about?
Sierra bullets. They're expensive. But Hornady, for a working man's bullet. You're going to load, bullets for hunting, or you're going to, you got competition, that sort of thing. You can start to go wrong with Hornady. Hornady, they make good bullets.
Yeah.
But those nozzlers, man, they were, those nozzlers. I mean, I was like, man, I was in there. What do you mean it's an 8? Where did that come from?
Man, nozzlers are higher than Ferris wheel axles, dude. God almighty.
To me, the nozzlers, the burgers, and what's that other one that starts with a B?
Barry?
Berries.
No, not berries. Berries are cheap. These are the most expensive bullets. I can afford to shoot some Sierras.
Barnes?
No, Barnes. Oh yeah. There's also Batten.
And now they're getting into this. What do y'all think about this all copper stuff?
Holy moly!
I don't live in California yet. I don't live there, so I'll shoot lead.
You can't use lead.
No, I can use lead here in New York for now.
I know, but not in California, like you were saying.
You talking about solid copper Barnes, like the XXTs, I think it is? The solid copper Barnes bullets?
Yeah.
Those things are lethal.
Yeah, Sean, I really like Spear.
Spear actually, there's a few bullets they make that are really high quality. I will say that. But in general, for Spear, I found some of their bullets not to shoot all that great for me. If they work for you, that's great. But for me, I found that there was only certain Spear bullets that got along with my rifles, and I've been pretty much a Hornady fan forever. I'll tell you another good bullet out there. It doesn't get a lot of good press. Well, you don't hear about it a lot, but that's the Remington Corlocks. Though I've never seen a Remington Corlock that wouldn't shoot.
I've taken a lot of game with a Corlock.
Tell you what, I used to
ammo back in the
I was
day.
in a pinch, and all I had was 150 grain Corlock flat base. So I loaded those up in 308, and I went out and shot a competition with it. And guess what? 300 yards, man, they were all X's and 10s.
Yep, they shot.
Yeah, they shot beautiful. I was like, man, that was awesome.
I bought the last few boxes from Walmart's before they stopped selling them. Dirt.
I got a box or two also.
Yeah, they're in my safe right now.
I was saying, Thor, to your point about your guns lacking stuff, I haven't found a gun or rifle yet that doesn't like the Hornadies.
Yeah, they're the nuts and bolts of of bullets. As far as I'm concerned, it's hard to go wrong with a Hornady bullet. Their XTPs are excellent.
Yep.
I'm actually really controversial about loading hollow points or making hollow points. I'm kind of controversial about that because some people hand load and then they carry it, for CCW. I don't think that's a good idea. That's just me. Some people buy, hollow point bullets and then load them up and then use them for personal defense or home defense. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't want to have to defend the fact that I made that stuff in my garage. Yeah. Up there on the, when the district attorney is trying to get a conviction, he's going to bring that all in there. They're going to paint you in a very dark way to the jury. They're going to try to convict you for being premeditatedly putting this ammunition together because you're a reloader. They're going to drag you through the knothole. Now they're going to drag you through the knothole anyway. But the thing was, with what I'm saying is that if I turn around and say, "Well, about that ammo, here's the receipt right here. Bob's Country Hardware. That's where I bought it. Go ask Bob where he got it. Maybe you need to go after this ammunition company instead of coming after me." See, that way I avoid it. I divorced myself from any liability whatsoever.
They go crazy over hollow points. I mean, I can legally use hollow points here in New York State, but I also shoot some in New Jersey. And I don't want to inadvertently travel there with a 9mm or 45 hollow point bullet because I think it's like 15 or 20 years for having a hollow point.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't want to make the mistake of going there. And so I've got 4 boxes of hollow point 9mm that, next time I get a reloader that wants to swap, I'll trade them out for some hollow points because I can't have them here.
You should just move to Georgia.
The work is all here is the problem. The business is all here.
Home is where you work, Same way with you, Kyle. Home is where you work. Same thing with Jamie up there, Home is where you work.
As many bad things there are living in the New York area for reloading and for shooting and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of really amazing things here in New York. New York has got some great things. Yeah, the people can be a bit, the jerks. New York, New Jersey can be a bit of jerks. But to be honest with you, I like to go see a Broadway show. I like to go to a concert. I like to go to museums. I'm a big nerd when it comes to reading and books, so I love the library system here. Is just ridiculous. If you ever been to New York Public Library, your mouth will just sit there open. You see how incredible it is. So there's a lot of things I like. I also like the fact that I can get any kind of food from any country. In New York, when they say, hey, you want to go out for Chinese food? They say, sure, which province?
Yeah, that is true.
When you go to Italian food, they say which type of Italian food, because we've got every kind of Italian food. So we don't just have one kind of thing. And the other thing is everything's delivered. You can get any kind of food. You can get the grocery stores to all deliver. Go up 7 flights of stairs and bring it and put it in your cabinets for you. So there's a lot of great things, in that regard that is just nice. The culture, and I like the little neighborhoods. I like going to Little Italy and Little Chinatown, and
but you're paying $3,800 a month for a 500 square foot flat. So.
Well, that's if you're silly enough to live in the city. I mean, I can be in New York City in 35 minutes from my house. Just jump on an express train and I'm in the city. But I live about an hour out of the city if I drove. So,
Noise.
Fellas, let's answer this question here. Georgia's shooting connection: case lube or no case lube, and why?
Powder coating's easier.
Case lube. You're talking about case lube.
Case lube.
Yeah.
Case lube.
Case lube, definitely.
Yeah.
If you ever had a piece of brass stuck in a die, case lube.
Case lube.
People say you can go get a carbide die and not lube, but don't do it. Don't do it. Lube that stuff up.
Yeah.
It's metal on metal, and metal on metal can cause some stress on one metal or the other. Even if your metal's hard and it's carbide, it's just not worth it. Lube it. It's designed to be that. Get yourself some, Dillon lube. Make your own Dillon lube, whatever. You'll be happy. You can use one shot or
if it's a bottleneck case, you're stupid if you don't use case lube. This is a recycled bottle of Dillon case lube that I just made more of. Lanolin and alcohol, which is all they use. I do not case lube 9mm, 40, 45. I have been using a little bit of lube on my 44 Magnums and stuff like that because they can sometimes be a little rough to resize depending on which of my firearms they were shot out of. I think the Henry has a little bit broader of a chamber.
Yep.
You bring it back into factory specs, it takes a little bit more pushing.
Yep.
I love everything.
I use that for bullet pressing too.
I was going to say, Jamie, that's what I was going to say right there. Just put a little bit of that stuff on your hands and just start.
Yep.
Same thing. Imperial sizing die wax. Imperial sizing die wax.
Yeah,
I swear that stuff must have been made or invented by a warlock because it is spooky. How sweet stuff is.
Mr. Pollard, this is not pee in a bottle.
I think he's talking about this. Yeah, it's still piss, James.
It's been a long chat, James. Give me a break.
And the Dillon lube makes your hands so smooth and soft.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it really does.
And I got some of this stuff too. Now y'all can say what you want to about this stuff, but this stuff
it works.
It works.
That stuff is magic.
You can actually dilute it down with water. You can actually add water to it. It works fine.
If you're trying to resize bullets and you got one that just won't go, if you can get it back out of the die, you coat that die with that stuff with a Q-tip, it'll go right through it. That's some magic stuff. And you know what? Lee does not sell that. That you get it when you get certain things. They'll send you a tube of it. I actually had a complaint with Lee, and they sent me a tube of that. That's that Lee Special lubricant or something like that. Lee Special Lube or something, the white paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you feel that stuff, you're like, this ain't going to lube my case. This is going to make sure it gets stuck.
Oh, that is some magic stuff, man.
And you put that thing up in that size and die, it's the smoothest stroke you ever took on a press.
They sent me a letter, and it was a handwritten letter, and it said, "I'm sorry that you had an issue. Please try this lubricant on your next session and let us know how it works." And man, you could slide a telephone pole up a gnat's butt with that stuff. I'm telling you, that's some good stuff right there.
Now you're getting a little too graphic.
Well, they don't sell it, so I mean, not for individual resale, you know.
I think they're starting to sell it now.
Oh, okay. Well, this was about a year and a half ago. But
How do you get the telephone pole?
The least stuff in the tube, yeah.
Mine's got a UPC code on it, so I'm assuming there.
oh, mine didn't. Mine was plain Jane. It had the red stripe on it and said Lee Special Lube, not for individual resale. If I can find it, I'll show it to you. It may be in the basement. I think it's in the basement.
Okay, let me
Kyle,
tell you.
that might have been that might have been stuff that they had at the factory that they throw in kits. That's why.
Right.
It's not for individual sale. Probably packaged a little different.
Matter of fact, I think that tube came with my Lee Classic 4-hole turret press when I bought that kit way back and I still got some of it. So that's how good it lasts.
Wow.
Echo, I got to call you, but this comment right here, I was watching a thing on a YouTube documentary on snipers this past week while I was at work. And he says, well, while you're sitting there and, one of the crucial aspects of being a sniper is being able to sit still and look through your scope for maybe 8 hours at a time until the target comes in view and you're lined up to take the shot. But he says, while you're doing that, you got to know which bottle to grab. Is it the pee bottle? Is it the Copenhagen spit bottle? Or is it the water bottle? Every sniper has grabbed the wrong bottle at least once, and if they say they haven't, they're telling you a story. But yeah, and another thing I wanted to address, a Nosler petition. Lakeview, if you can afford to buy them and shoot them and practice with them, buddy, there ain't a thing wrong with those bullets.
They're fan-damn-tastic bullets.
They are accurate. They bring down the prey and fill up your freezer. But this coming deer season, I'll be hunting with Hornady SST out of the 270 Winchester. Lord willing.
You mean these?
No, mine are going to be 145 grain, I think.
Oh, you're going a little heavy. All right.
Yeah, I like heavy. 338, 200 grain SSTs.
Wow.
Braggers.
Oh, come on, get real. Oh, geez.
Keep the mess out of the deer, though. Let me tell you.
I'm not unloading my shelf.
Yeah, if I wasn't packed up, I'd have a box to show too.
Get the 208 grain SSTs. Come on.
Chico, you been going to the health food store?
Yeah.
Nah, what?
That now I know about now.
Nah.
I wish they came in a big bottle, though. I tell you, I'd buy
It does. It does. This is not a big bottle.
Yeah.
Amazon has them in a big bottle. Those are in the basement. They're on top of my toolbox. They're in, I want to say 32-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
And you can get 6 of them. What was it for $28?
Because this is 4 ounces right here. So
Right.
a little goes a long way.
Yeah,
Did you buy that after watching it on one of my videos? You can say yes.
I'm gonna tell you what. If you got a little skin thing going on where you got an itch, you know, and you keep scratching that thing, you know, and it's bugging you, you put some of that stuff on it, done.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that stuff works slick for that.
You guys are so late to the game.
Yeah.
We should have a section about moisturizing here as well.
Sharinda. You know, I love having Sharinda on the show because she always brings that whole, I don't know, female perspective in. You know, I mean, you know, guys can talk, and there's a certain way guys talk, and there's a certain way guys think. And when you ask Sharinda something, it's, you know, you're getting it from like a different planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And y'all ladies are probably gonna kill me for this one, but when they're out shopping and they have all those magical apps that get these coupons and stuff, tell them throw some of that on there. You might be getting a free bottle. I'm so serious.
We are from Mars, and Sharinda's from Venus, so she does have a different outlook.
Yep.
Well, I work in a saltwater environment, and I started breaking out and with dry skin, and so, you know, I went to the doctor, and he says, well, you know, you might want to try this type of soap, and you might want to do this, you might want to do that. And I discussed it with one of my lady friends. She says, you don't have any Gold Bond? I went, no. She says, go get yourself a bottle of Gold Bond. It's a bomb. I've used that stuff, and I don't have any more problems.
How the hell can you live without Gold Bond being a
Or
man?
Tiger Balm.
I don't know, man.
You've never been to Fort Benning, have you?
We gotta start wrapping this fun time up, guys. But just hide and watch.
Yeah, it's not going to be canceled. No, no, thank you. No.
Not where I hunt anyway.
Don't care what the government says.
In Washington State, they've allowed. In Washington State, they have opened up hunting and fishing.
People got to fight for freedom.
There's enough people. There's enough people that are really angry about that because fishing season's here.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you're right. In fishing, yeah.
They got to open it up so people can fill their freezers back up because people have been eating all the meat this winter, and with the COVID not being able to go out and shop for other meat, they're eating a lot of game meat. You know.
Well, good luck trying to fill your freezer with salmon because, you know, I mean, you're better off buying it than going out and trying to fish for it. It just it costs you more to actually go out and fish it than just go buy it.
What are you talking about for licenses and stuff?
Well, licenses, you're going to go out and you're going to burn up maybe $20, $30 worth of fuel. You're only allowed 2 fish. And I'm going to tell you what, if you catch a 6-pound or a 6.5-pound blackmouth up here, you could win the salmon derby. I mean, there just isn't any kings running now. None at all. Well, the Native Americans have wiped them out. The Native Americans went into commercial fishing now, and they net them, they gill net them, they've just wiped out all the runs. They don't care. I mean, they're in it for commercial. They don't pay any government taxes, inspections, nothing.
Sell it right back to you.
Well, yeah, and you know, the sports fishermen are the people that really take it on that. The government, like, well, you know, we're regulating, you know, our sports fishermen. You know, we want to make sure there are runs and everything. Well, yeah. Well, what about this? You know, I'm not making a racial thing out of this. You're allowing people to go out there and catch as much as they want out of season anywhere they want.
Right.
So what difference am I going to make as a Mr. Sports Fisherman that has to follow a season, buy licenses, and do all the rest of the stuff, and only have a 2 limit?
Yeah.
What?
Deep sea.
I'm not at all. Period. But it's all about the tribes and the way that they're connected to Olympia and all that other stuff, dude. And they've got money from their casinos, man, so they're really hard to fight. So there you go.
Yeah.
I think the simple for Scotsman, I think the simple quick answer is heat treat all new modes.
Yep.
Bring them up to about 400, heat cycle them about 400 degrees, let them cool down to room temperature, do that about 3-4 times. That mold, the pin should be broken in, but just know with molds, in my opinion, as they oxidize or break in, they're gonna cast better.
Yep.
So when I buy a used mold off eBay, it just works. Like it's already been broken in. And but Jamie was right. We do have to wrap this up. Everyone, thanks for the questions. That was plenty of Brother Scotsman is on it. That's why he has a link and a wrench. If y'all didn't see other people out there posting links, I'm gonna make it real quick because we got like 5 minutes. I wanted to shout out a channel. He's in our side chat right now. He recently contacted me about uploading videos to YouTube, and I'm glad he did. So it's posting right now. It is Rabbit Hole Reloading, and that's it. That is Russ in the side chat. He said I could shout his channel out. So y'all check him out. He's another Georgia brother. So y'all definitely check him out. He's got some good information. Been reloading for 20 plus, no, what is, since he was 15? Maybe 9, 15 on his birthday, he got his first reloading press. So he's a good dude. I try to support everyone who supports us. And even if they don't support us, I still, if they got good information, I try to throw that back out. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I need to be doing some videos. And I thank everyone for being here, man. It's been awesome. We really didn't have no dead space at all of all these questions. So Thor's Axe, thanks for being here, brother. You always a wealth of knowledge. NYC Reloader, you are the unicorn because you bring the crowd. We got 48, and my brothers Kyle and Jamie also. So let's see. NYC Reload, what do you got coming up in the future, sir?
Well, I gotta tell you, that's really the biggest thing. I'm trying to get out there and do some videos for 6.5 Creedmoor. I can ever get out of the house. I got to go out and fireform some brass and start reloading it. And I've just been chomping at the bit, so hopefully one of these days soon I'll get out of quarantine and be able to go to range and start shooting it and doing some cool videos on the topic. I've done so many videos, now it's hard to look for what topics that I want to do, and other people have made some really good videos on the topic, so I got to find some good subject that I want to cover. So as I do that, I will. I'll do some stuff on 6.5 soon.
Cool, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Kevin. We appreciate it. Chico, we got to get Rabbit Hole Reloading on here.
Yeah, and y'all forgive me. I put that in the side wrong. Y'all see it says Rabbit Hope. I'm fixing that right now. It is Rabbit Hole. Dang autocorrect. But it's fixed now. I can go back and erase that other one.
Rabbit hole, huh? What were you thinking?
It said Rabbit Hope. I was like, dang autocorrect. So I fixed it. Yeah. He's got a wealth of knowledge. So, everyone can learn from someone, some form of fashion. We all learn from each other. So
You should probably plug the Reloaders Network too, right?
yeah, always.
Absolutely. Check us out. That's the last thing I always do.
Yeah, go visit James. Go visit James. Good dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Kyle? What do you got going on?
What?
Kyle, what do you got going on, dude?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading Rollis's post.
Oh,
Me
okay.
too.
He ain't wrong. If you look to the northwest, you'll see a gorgeous Venus tonight. I've actually gotten a gift from a coworker, which is a bunch of old plumbing apparatuses that I'm going to melt down into soft lead ingots and make some bullets. And hopefully, if it's not raining in the morning, I'm going to do that. And I might even make a video. It's been a minute since I had a video, so might even make a video on that. I've been super busy with yard work and all this quarantine crap and just trying to go to work and make everything happen. I've been stupid busy, and I've realized that my normal life is considered quarantine because it hadn't really changed that much. I just hadn't had as much time to mess around with other things like I wanted to. But tomorrow's supposed to be nice and cool in the morning. I don't think it's supposed to rain. So me and the puppy dog might get outside and smelt some plumbing fixtures and make about, I don't know, 40, 50 pounds worth of ingots out of that. And I got a bunch of tire weights I need to smelt down too. Chico, you're always welcome to stop by for that. I know you enjoy it. Other than that, all the trees are dropped. I've got firewood. If anybody needs firewood, come on to the house. Bring your own beer and chainsaw because you're not using mine. But other than that, that's about where I'm at with it. What you doing, Sharenda?
Well, I didn't get to go turkey hunting because they revoked our license thanks to hostage lockdown situation. I am moving, so I will be getting my own hen's den here in a few weeks. There will be a sign that says hen's den. I just haven't figured out where I'm going to get it from yet.
Not the she shack?
No, they can keep the she shack. This is going to be hen's den because that's where all the hens are going to be hanging out here in a few weeks.
Cool.
You need to call OP.
Huh?
You need to call OP.
What's OP?
Jamie, help me with the rest of his channel name.
OPT 2 TT5 PFD.
Yeah, that.
Send me the text.
I'd love to see a video,
Send me
Sharenda,
the text.
the reloading sessions with your lady reloaders.
I will definitely do that because they're excited. I have a shot shell reloader coming too, so I'm gonna get started doing that. I cannot believe I'm actually gonna have a what do they call it? A man cave.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for like a wooden sign to go up over?
I don't even care. I just needed to say hen's den. Hen's den.
Our fellow reloading brethren, he does a lot of wood carving.
Send me that info too. I got orders to sneak in.
TTOPFD. God, he's in Louisiana. He's a fireman in Louisiana.
Does wood burning.
You guys are getting old.
Ain't getting old.
You guys are getting old.
Why do you think we're getting old? Come on now.
Yeah, Squatch does have hens in his reloading room for real. Squirrel snuck some in on him.
And yeah, Mario said something good that nobody really addressed. Make sure all the mothers out there or stepmothers, happy Mother's Day to everyone, you guys' wives and stuff like that. So
thank you, Crazy Scotsman.
Yeah,
wrote it down.
TTFD.
Hey, Jamie, turn around and grab your plaque off the wall and show it to Sharenda.
It's right back there.
She can't see it. It's too small.
Yeah, I would like to recognize at this point that the Crazy Scotsman, he's given us a lot to, talk about here, opening up subjects and stuff like that. And even though he wasn't on the panel, he was kind of, involved with us. And I really want to thank him for, hanging out and, kind of putting up with us.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Brother Scotsman. He's always.
Yeah, he's good too. It's good.
Yeah, he's a good troublemaker.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I love him, man. He's a great guy, dude.
He makes great trouble, and we love him for it.
Yeah, those little shifty eyes ahead start moving back and forth or something.
Yeah.
That's when you got to watch him.
Definitely a guy who's going to sit in the corner of the bar, but he's going to have your back.
Nice.
There you go, Sharenda.
That's nice.
That's the kind of work that OP does.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to talk
Carving.
now.
Yeah, it's not wood burning, wood carving. I said that wrong.
He's good at what he does. Okay, I'm gonna be working on a video about my new Reading D7, and we're going to load up some 358 Eagle rounds or 350 Legend modified, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to use these bullets these beautiful 200 grain 358 round nose that
What color?
Charlie Gas Stuffer sent me.
What color are those?
Copper penny.
Copper penny.
Okay. Kevin, have you said your outro?
Yes, I have. I have said it.
Kyle has. Thorzax, you haven't. Go
No.
for it, bro.
As far as video content, like I said, I've been kind of cooped up at the house here. So, I haven't been trying to, think too much, about being stuck here. But I have been, I sent my one star lubricator sizer back to Magma, and I'm having a new base put on it that has an O-ring seal for it. And I'm going to get that back, and then I'm going to have to put that all back together, and that's what I'm going to do all my smaller calibers on. And so I have one for large caliber, I have another one for smaller caliber, which is cool. So I might do a video on that. I don't really know. I don't really have any without. I haven't made a shooting video in like forever, man. I need to get out to the range. I really do. And our range is closed, and with the whole thing with Washington State and our governor right now about what they're allowing to open, I don't know when it's going to open it back up. I know one thing that now the shotgunners, okay, since the shotgunners have an actual scheduled event and it's ran like a game, okay, and they can practice their social distancing, they have allowed the shotgunners to start back up out at the range. But as far as the rifle and pistol part of our range, it's still closed, and I don't imagine it's going to open up until probably September.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, well, that's what we're looking at here in Washington State. That's what we're looking at with Inslee. Inslee wants to keep this clamp down as long as he can. So hey, just don't start thinking it's a prison. You know what I mean? That's just get that out of your mind. We're gonna make it through this, and that's it. That's the way I kind of look at it. There you go. Anything can be a prison. I mean, I'm here, and then I go to work, and then I come back home. It's a prison. This being on this panel, it's a prison. It's just, so it's all whatever you're gonna let into your mind, let it bother you.
Well, I'm glad that being on the panel is a prison, Dave.
It's a prison.
6 sales, don't you see him?
Being in the wrong relationship with somebody, it's a prison.
That's why I'm glad I have a German Shepherd.
But anyway, that's not all I got going on. It's great being on the panel here. I hope to come back again. Thanks for inviting me, Jamie. It's been great. Anytime, man, just go ahead and let me know. And
Dave, it was great to have you, brother. This is the first time, and I hope it's not the last time that we get to interact personally together. So
yeah, sure, yeah. It's great, Kyle. Yeah.
I think it's been a great show to have Dave and Kevin on with us tonight, and
it's been a hoot for me.
Yeah.
Both of you guys are just a blessing, and remember, y'all keep Tread's daughter and new granddaughter in your prayers over the weekend as she's having labor-induced GGW, is that right? I hope. Brother, that was a gift from Squatch and Scotsman. I have absolutely no I'm overwhelmed. I just thank both of them so much. It's such a great gift and present, and it will be well used, and every time I use it, I'll think of those two guys. So all you guys, thank you for coming. We had a lot of folks on here tonight, had great conversation. lots of good topics, and we hope to do the same next week. Y'all remember all your mothers out there on Sunday, and check us all out on the Reloaders Network on what's the chat thing, Chico?
Discord. We've got an Instagram.
We have Instagram. We have a Georgia Shooting Connection at gmail.com email. I hope somebody's checking it. I haven't checked it in a couple of weeks, so I got to do better on that. We have an Instagram. I got to get Chico to teach me how to post on Instagram, because I go on there, I don't see a post on there, so
You hit the post button.
I can't find the post button.
It's
We'll
at the
show
bottom.
you.
That's when you go, hey, Rigby, come post this.
Thank you, Sharonda. Anyway, y'all check us out on the Reloaders Network and on Discord. All these guys you see on the side chat, most all of them are over there.
And gals.
And gals. Check out Uncle Jim tomorrow night if he's doing something. I'm pretty sure he will. Check out Foreign and Domestic on Sunday night with ThecrazyScotsman and Alan B. Pro. Alan really is a pro. And I don't really think Jan is gay, but I'm not really sure. So anyway, y'all have a good weekend. Thanks for being here with us. We're in touch. Y'all be in touch. See y'all next Friday night, Lord willing.
Good night.